Welcome to the Deep Dive. You wanted to explore everyday English phrases, and you sent us a beginner-level podcast script as a starting point.
Right.
We're going to use it to unearth some gems that you can use right away to start having real conversations in English.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you can do with just a handful of well-chosen phrases.
Yeah.
It's like having a conversational toolkit.
Exactly. And what's cool about this script is it doesn't just give you the phrases, it shows you how they fit into daily routines.
Right.
So it's not just about what you say, but when you say it.
That's where the real magic of communication happens. It's about reading the situation.
Right.
And using the right phrase at the right time.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The script starts with greetings.
Okay.
Like, good morning, and how are you? Those seem pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's more to them than meets the eye.
You're absolutely right. Take good morning, for example. In many English-speaking cultures, it's not just a polite acknowledgement. It's a genuine invitation to connect. The script even pairs it with, did you sleep well?
Oh.
Which, depending on where you are, could be a perfectly normal follow-up or might be considered a bit too personal for a casual encounter.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So even with a simple greeting, there are cultural nuances to be aware of. It's like a secret code.
Exactly. And that's why context is so important. The way you use these phrases can change depending on who you're talking to, where you are, even the time of day.
Okay, I'm starting to see how even basic phrases can have hidden depths. What about how are you? Is there more to that than just being polite?
There certainly is. While it can be a simple pleasantry, it can also be a genuine inquiry about someone's well-being.
Yeah.
And the way you respond can signal how open you are to further conversation.
Okay.
A quick, I'm fine, thanks, might signal you want to keep things brief, while a more detailed response invites further interaction.
So it's all about reading the signals and responding accordingly, like a conversational dance.
Exactly. And this script gives us a great example of a response that keeps the conversation flowing.
Okay.
I'm doing great, thanks. And you?
Yeah.
Notice how it not only answers the question, but also turns it back to the other person, encouraging them to share as well.
It's like a conversational volley. I like that. It keeps the energy up.
Right.
So we've covered greetings, which are more complex than they first appear. What's next on our conversational adventure?
Well, the script takes us right into a classic scenario, mealtime. And the first phrase we encounter is, what's for breakfast? Now, this might seem like a simple question, but it actually opens up a whole world of possibilities.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How can a question about breakfast be so powerful?
Think about it. Food is a universal topic.
Yeah.
It's something everyone can relate to. Talking about food allows you to connect with people on a personal level, share cultural experiences, and even learn new things.
That's so true. I love trying new foods and hearing about other people's culinary traditions. It's a great way to break the ice and get to know someone.
Exactly. And the script doesn't just stop at breakfast. It goes on to include phrases like, can you pass the salt, please?
Oh, yeah.
Which, while seemingly simple, are essential for navigating mealtime etiquette.
You know, it's funny you mention that. I once had an awkward experience where I forgot to say please when asking for something at the dinner table. Let me tell you, those two little letters make a big difference in how your request comes across.
They certainly do. Politeness goes a long way in any language. And using phrases like please and thank you shows respect and consideration. It's like adding a little social lubricant to your interactions.
I love that analogy. It's so true. Okay, so we've mastered greetings and mealtime etiquette. What's next on our agenda?
Well, the script then shifts gears to getting ready for the day, and we encounter the phrase, I need to take a shower. Now, while this might seem like a very basic statement, it actually highlights an important grammatical structure. The present continuous tense.
Ooh, grammar. I'm all ears. Tell me more.
The present continuous tense is used to describe actions that are happening right now. In this case, the speaker is expressing their immediate need to shower.
Right.
The script highlights this tense again later with the phrase, I'm running late, which emphasizes the urgency of the situation.
I see. So the tense you use can really change the emphasis of what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. But before we get too deep into grammar, I have a question. We've been focusing on individual phrases, but how do they all fit together in a real conversation?
That's a great question. And that's where the final practice dialogue in the script comes in. It shows you how all these phrases can be combined to create a natural flow of conversation. It's like watching a master chef put together a delicious meal using all the right ingredients in the right order.
Okay, that's a fantastic way to put it. We're building our conversational skills, phrase by phrase, and the final practice dialogue shows us how to put it all together. So in a way, we're like chefs, creating a delicious conversational feast. I love it. So far, we've tackled greetings, mealtime conversations, and getting ready for the day. Where does this linguistic journey take us next?
Well, next, our script takes us into the worlds of work and school, two settings where clear communication is absolutely key.
I can only imagine the kinds of mishaps that could happen if you're not able to express yourself clearly in those environments.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why the script provides us with some real gems for navigating these situations. For instance, it gives us the phrase, "Can I help you?" which is like a Swiss Army knife of communication in a work or school setting.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of potential there. How so?
Think about it. You can use it when you genuinely want to assist someone who looks lost or confused, like a student struggling to find their classroom. Or you can use it in a professional setting to offer assistance to a colleague who seems overwhelmed.
Wow. I hadn't thought about the different ways that phrase could be used. It's all about adapting it to the context.
Exactly. And just as important as offering help is knowing when to ask for it. The script gives us the phrase, "I need a break." It seems straightforward, but it's so important to be able to communicate your needs, especially in demanding environments.
You know, I think a lot of people, especially those new to a language, might feel hesitant to express their needs so directly. It's like they don't want to seem demanding or incapable.
That's a really important point. Cultural backgrounds can play a huge role in how comfortable people are with expressing their needs. But being able to say, "I need a break" or "I need help" is essential for self-care and setting boundaries.
Absolutely. It's about advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
And hopefully the people around you will respond with understanding and support. Speaking of needs, the script then brings up another important one. What time is lunch?
Yes. The question that keeps us all going, but it's more than just a way to satisfy our hunger.
Right.
It's also a way to inquire about schedules and routines in a polite and indirect way.
So instead of directly asking someone about their schedule, you can use a question like, "What time is lunch?" to subtly gather information. It's like conversational detective work.
Precisely. And it's a strategy that can be applied in many situations, not just when you're hungry. For example, instead of directly asking, "When does the meeting start?" you could ask, "What time do you usually break for coffee?"
That's brilliant. I'm starting to see how these seemingly simple phrases can be used in really strategic ways. It's like a whole new level of communication. So we've covered offering help, asking for help, and even subtly gathering information. Where does the script take us next?
Well, after a long day of work or school, the script guides us into the evening with the suggestion, "Let's watch a movie."
Finally, some relaxation. But I bet there's more to this than just picking a film, right?
You know me too well. On the surface, it's a simple invitation to relax and enjoy some entertainment.
Right.
But it also reflects how we use language to build relationships and create shared experiences.
It's like a bonding ritual, gathering with friends or family, dimming the lights and getting lost in a story together. It creates a sense of connection.
Exactly. And notice how the script pairs this invitation with another classic, "What's for dinner?"
Oh, yeah.
It highlights how food continues to play a central role in our daily interactions, even beyond meal times.
Food really is a universal language, isn't it? It brings people together and sparks conversations. You know, I remember when I first started learning English, one of the first things I wanted to be able to do was order food at a restaurant. It felt like a real accomplishment.
That's a great example of how mastering even basic phrases can give you a sense of confidence and independence in a new language. It allows you to participate in everyday activities and connect with people on a more meaningful level.
So true. Small victories lead to bigger ones. But even with all the excitement of movies and dinner, eventually exhaustion sets in. And the script acknowledges this with the phrase, "I'm so tired."
Ah, yes. The universal sigh of relief at the end of a long day. But even this simple statement holds a deeper meaning. It reflects our shared human experience of fatigue and the need for rest.
It's like an unspoken understanding that we all go through these cycles of activity and rest. And being able to express that feeling of tiredness in any language is a way of connecting with others on a very primal level.
Absolutely. And it often serves as a signal that it's time to wind down and prepare for sleep. The script then gives us time to go to bed, which is more than just a statement.
Oh, yeah.
It's a reminder to prioritize our well-being and recharge for the day ahead.
It's like a gentle nudge towards self-care, which I think we all need sometimes, especially in today's fast-paced world.
Couldn't agree more. And as we drift off to sleep, the script leaves us with a heartwarming sentiment. Sweet dreams.
Oh, I love that. It's such a simple phrase, but it carries so much warmth and affection. It's a reminder that even in our sleep, we're connected to the people we care about.
It's a beautiful way to end the day, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So far, we've explored a full day's worth of phrases, from greetings to bedtime rituals. What else does this script have in store for us as we wrap up our deep dive?
Well, the script starts the final section on a really positive note with, "Today was a good day."
I like that. It's like a little celebration of all the small wins and positive moments that make up a day.
Exactly. It encourages us to practice gratitude and focus on the good, which can be really powerful, especially when learning a new language. It's easy to get caught up in mistakes and frustrations, but taking a moment to acknowledge the progress you've made can be really motivating.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself a little pat on the back for all the effort you're putting in. And it sets a nice tone for the next phrase. See you tomorrow.
Ah, yes, the classic farewell. It might seem simple, but it actually reinforces the idea of connection and continuity. It signals that while our conversation is ending for now, we anticipate future interactions.
Yeah, it's like saying, this isn't goodbye, it's just see you later. It keeps the door open for future conversations and collaborations.
Precisely. And to make sure those future interactions happen on time, the script gives us a crucial reminder. Don't forget to set your alarm.
Huh. Spoken like someone who's definitely experienced the panic of oversleeping.
Oh, I'll admit, I've had my fair share of close calls. But this phrase is more than just a practical reminder. It also highlights the importance of taking responsibility for our own schedules and commitments.
It's like saying, I'm reliable, I'm organized, I've got this. Which is a great message to send in any language.
Absolutely. And it ties back to the idea of self-advocacy that we discussed earlier. Being able to manage your time and communicate your needs effectively are essential skills, both in language learning and in life.
So true. It's all connected. You know, looking back at this whole script, I'm really impressed by how it weaves together so many seemingly simple phrases into a cohesive narrative.
Me too. The final practice dialogue really brings it all together. It's one thing to learn individual phrases, but it's quite another to see how they can be combined into a natural-sounding conversation.
It's like we've been given all the ingredients, and now we can start experimenting and creating our own conversational dishes.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that you can take these basic phrases and adapt them to fit your own personality and style. You can add humor, express your unique perspectives, and really make the language your own.
So, to wrap things up, we've gone on quite a journey with this beginner-level podcast script. We've explored how seemingly simple phrases can hold hidden depths, reflect cultural nuances, and be used strategically in different situations.
We've seen how these phrases can be used to build relationships, express needs, navigate daily routines, and even celebrate small victories. It's amazing how much you can accomplish with just a handful of well-chosen words.
It really is. If you're listening and you're just starting out with English, I encourage you to start using these phrases right away. Don't be afraid to experiment, make mistakes, and have fun with it.
And remember, language learning is a journey, not a destination. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you'll become. So what kind of conversations about your daily routine can you imagine having in English?
That's a great question to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another exciting exploration of language and communication.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. You sent in a beginner's podcast script about 50 common English words. And I think we were both kind of like 50 common words. What's there to deep dive into?
Yeah, right.
So
that's kind of the fun of it.
yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, we're not going to just go through a vocabulary list.
Right.
We're going to explore like how these fundamental words shape how we understand the world around us and how we interact with each other, and hopefully give you those aha moments along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to take these kind of foundational elements of language for granted.
Sure.
But when we do pause and examine them, we can actually uncover some pretty surprising aspects of how we communicate and how we understand the world around us.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about it is how much information and nuance we can pack into even the simplest words.
Exactly.
Like a single word can convey so much.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's unpack this a little bit. The first set of words in your material focuses on the morning routine. So we have wake up, that moment when our eyes open to a new day.
Right.
Then comes the dreaded or sometimes welcomed alarm.
Yep.
You know, sometimes it's a savior, sometimes it's like, not that sound again.
Right.
Then we brush. Pretty universal act of hygiene, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
Then we have shower to get us feeling fresh and ready for the day.
Yep.
And finally, breakfast, fuel to kickstart our day. And the script gives like these very straightforward meanings, like
Sure.
wake up, open your eyes in the morning, and super simple examples like I wake up at 7 a.m. every day, or
Right.
I usually have fruit for breakfast.
Yeah.
Very basic stuff.
Right. And I think what strikes me is how significant this small collection of morning routine words is.
Yeah.
I mean, they represent the sequence of almost ritualistic actions that many of us perform without even thinking.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, we don't even think about it. We just do
We're
it.
just on autopilot.
Totally on autopilot. And think about how those 5 words alone, wake up, alarm, brush, shower, breakfast, can kind of sketch a basic outline of the start of someone's day.
Yeah.
It really highlights how fundamental these actions and these words are to just basic human experience.
Doesn't it? It's like it makes you realize how these like seemingly basic terms
Right.
are kind of like the starting point for describing, a very personal part of our day. So think about your own morning for a moment. How would you use these 5 words? Wake up, alarm, brush, shower, and breakfast to tell someone about your morning routine.
Okay, sure. So
What little details or individual habits could you convey using just those terms?
I actually wake up before my alarm every day.
Yeah.
So I don't need to use the word alarm.
Wow.
I wake up, I brush my teeth, and I hop in the shower.
Okay.
I usually skip breakfast, though.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So let's move on to the next category here. We have words related to work and school. And these words are office, a place of business. A lot of professional work gets done there. Computer, an absolutely essential tool in many workplaces and schools these days.
Yeah.
Meeting, a gathering for discussion, decision making,
Sure.
homework, those tasks assigned for study outside of class.
Yep.
And teacher, the guide in the learning environment. And again, the script gives these like super simple definitions and examples like, my office is on the 3rd floor, or I need to finish my homework tonight.
Yeah.
So very straightforward stuff.
And what's interesting here is that how these words represent structures and activities that organize a significant portion of many people's lives beyond their personal routines.
It's true.
So we have the personal routine in the morning, and then we go out into the world.
Yeah.
And these are the words that we use to talk about what we're doing out there.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to think about how the traditional understanding of some of these words is also evolving.
Oh,
Like even if you don't go to a physical office every day,
right.
you might have a designated workspace at home that you could call your office.
Right. My office is in my bedroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And homework isn't just for students anymore. A lot of adults engage in continuous learning or professional development
That's true.
that could fall under that umbrella.
Yeah.
So even if your daily life doesn't perfectly fit these traditional definitions, how might you apply these words office, computer, meeting, homework, teacher to describe your own current activities or learning endeavors?
Well, I think that's the beauty of language, is that it's flexible.
It is.
And these seemingly straightforward words can adapt to describe new realities
That's a great point.
and evolving ways of life.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we'll see kind of throughout this whole deep dive.
Absolutely.
Is how these words are so adaptable.
Yeah.
All right, so next up we have a category that's truly universal: food.
Okay. Everybody eats.
The words here are lunch, that midday break for a meal.
Yeah.
Dinner, the evening meal.
Coffee, a very popular caffeinated drink. We both enjoy some coffee.
Absolutely. I'm actually drinking some right now.
As am I. Water, essential for survival.
Yes.
And fruit, a naturally sweet and often healthy food. And again, the definitions are very simple, like lunch, a meal eaten in the middle of the day.
Right.
And the examples are things like, I usually have lunch around 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And drinking enough water is important. So,
Right. And what's really interesting is that regardless of culture or specific dietary habits,
it's true.
everyone interacts with the concepts represented by these words.
That's a great point.
It's a truly unifying vocabulary.
Think about how many times you use these words, lunch, dinner, coffee, water, and fruit in just one day.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably a constant stream of conversation, right?
Probably. Yeah.
What other, perhaps more specific words do you already know that build on this basic vocabulary?
Sure.
For example, instead of just saying fruit, you might say apple.
Right.
Or banana. Or instead of dinner, you might be talking about sushi or pasta. Right. Or enchiladas.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think what that illustrates is how this core vocabulary acts as a foundation upon which we build more detailed and nuanced descriptions as our language skills develop.
Yeah,
And as we need to be more specific.
absolutely. All right, our next category takes us to a more personal and intimate sphere. Home and family.
Okay.
The words included are house, the place where we live,
Mm-hmm.
bedroom, the room where we sleep,
Yeah.
kitchen, a space for preparing food,
Right.
parents,
Mhm.
our mother and father,
Mhm.
and family, the group of people we are closely related to. And the examples here are quite personal, like my house has a big garden,
Yeah.
or I love spending weekends with my family.
Yeah, and what's interesting about these words is the strong emotional associations they carry.
Absolutely.
House can represent security and comfort,
Yeah,
while family speaks to our deepest connections and a sense of belonging.
it's true.
These aren't just neutral terms. They often evoke really powerful feelings and memories.
They do. And, these words, house, bedroom, kitchen, parents, and family, they really are central to our sense of self and our place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So how do these words resonate with you personally? What kind of feelings or images do they bring to mind?
Oh, well, house for me brings to mind, a feeling of safety
Yeah.
and security. Family, well, my family's spread out all over the place.
Okay.
But it brings to mind a feeling of warmth and connection.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, it's interesting how even with these simple words,
right.
kitchen for someone might be this sterile modern space, but for someone else it might be this warm, lived in space with family recipes. And
Absolutely. Yeah, my grandmother's kitchen.
exactly.
Yeah.
So much meaning packed into such simple words.
Yeah.
All right, finally, we arrive at words that describe how we interact with others and spend our free time.
Okay.
This category includes friend, someone we enjoy spending time with,
Mm-hmm.
call, a conversation over the phone,
Yep.
message, or written communication, music, something we listen to for enjoyment,
Sure.
and movie, a visual story we watch. And examples from the script are, my best friend's name is Sarah, and do you want to watch a movie tonight?
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about this set of words is how they reflect our social needs
It's true.
and the ways that we seek enjoyment and connection outside of work or school.
Yep.
I mean, these words represent the building blocks of our social lives and our leisure activities.
Yeah, and it's interesting how technology has really shaped the way we use some of these words as well. Call now encompasses not just phone conversations,
Right.
but also video chats.
Right. FaceTime?
Exactly. And message can refer to anything from a text to a direct message on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So much has changed,
Yeah.
even in just the last decade or so. So your source material also provided a short practice dialogue, which I think really shows how these words can work together in a natural way. It goes like this. A, what time do you wake up? B, I wake up at 7 a.m., take a shower, and eat breakfast. Then, A, do you drink coffee? B, yes, I drink coffee every morning.
I love how simple and effective that little dialogue is.
It is, right?
It effortlessly weaves together several of the words that we've been talking about to convey really practical information about someone's morning routine and habits.
Yeah.
It's a great illustration of how even a basic vocabulary can facilitate clear and concise communication.
And it really underscores how, these fundamental questions and answers that we use every day
Yeah,
rely on this core set of words.
absolutely.
They're the workhorses of everyday conversation.
They are. And it also highlights the importance of mastering these seemingly simple terms
Yes,
as a foundation for more complex communication.
absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into what might seem like very basic vocabulary, it's clear that these common English words are really the essential groundwork for how we understand and talk about our daily lives from the moment we wake up to how we connect with a friend. And while they might appear elementary on the surface, understanding and effectively using these core words is really the very first step in broader language learning and confident communication.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating to me is how much meaning and context we can derive from even this relatively small set of words.
Yeah.
It really underscores their fundamental role in our ability to connect with each other and make sense of our experiences.
That's a perfect way to put it. So here's a final thought for you. You think about all the other seemingly simple words that exist beyond these 25 we've explored today. Each one is like a key that unlocks even more possibilities for understanding and expressing yourself.
That's a great way to think about it.
What other areas of basic vocabulary, perhaps words related to feelings, locations, actions, might you be curious to explore next to build on this foundational layer of language?
That's a great question.
Something to think about.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
This was fun.
It was fun. It's amazing how much we got out of 50 common English words.
I know, right?
All right. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Welcome to your deep dive on English idioms.
Oh, very cool.
Today we're going beyond simple definitions. We're going to help you really understand and use 33 of the most common ones.
All right.
Think of it as a fluency upgrade,
Yeah.
adding that natural expressive touch to your English.
It's fascinating how idioms work. They pack so much meaning into just a few words reflecting shared cultural experiences
Yeah.
and adding that touch of personality to language.
Exactly. And to make this deep dive even more digestible,
Okay.
we've grouped them into themes.
Ooh, nice.
We're kicking things off with idioms related to mornings and daily routines.
All right.
I'm curious, do you have any favorites in this category?
Well, Rise and Shine is a classic, of course. It's more than just waking up.
Right.
It's about approaching the day with energy and enthusiasm. It's that feeling of, all right, let's do this.
I love that it sets the tone for a productive day. Now, speaking of productivity, hit the ground running is another great one. It's not just about starting early. It's about starting with momentum, diving right into the task at hand.
Right.
Have you ever noticed how this idiom is often used to describe someone new in a job or role?
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It highlights the importance of making a strong first impression and showing initiative.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how some idioms like burning the midnight oil have a bit of a double-edged sword to them.
Right.
It implies dedication and hard work, but also touches upon the idea of perhaps pushing ourselves a bit too hard.
Right. Burning the midnight oil speaks to those late night work sessions, the scramble to meet deadlines. There's a sense of urgency, but also a hint of maybe I should have managed my time better. It definitely reflects the reality of many work environments.
It does. And then there's a fresh pair of eyes, which I think highlights the value of collaboration and outside perspectives.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so close to a project or problem that we lose sight of the bigger picture.
It's like being stuck in a rut, unable to see new solutions or possibilities. A fresh perspective can be incredibly helpful in those situations. It's like saying, okay, let's step back and see this from a different angle. And speaking of perspective, the early bird catches the worm is a timeless reminder about the importance of being proactive.
It's about seizing opportunities and taking initiative, not waiting for things to come to you. What's fascinating is how these seemingly simple phrases about mornings and routines actually offer deeper insights into work ethic, problem solving, and even mindset.
Absolutely. They're not just about literal actions. They're about how we approach challenges and opportunities. It's almost like they offer a little glimpse into the values and beliefs embedded in a culture.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's shift gears a bit and head into the world of work and business.
Okay.
This is where things get interesting, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. There are so many idioms that reflect the dynamics of the workplace.
Right.
Get down to business is a great example. It's that call to action to focus and be productive.
It's like saying, okay, enough chit chat, let's get things done. And in the business world, bringing something to the table is essential.
Right.
It highlights the importance of contributing value, whether it's skills, knowledge, or unique perspective.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating your worth and showing that you're a valuable asset to the team. But sometimes even with the best intentions, we have to put things on the back burner.
That's the reality of prioritization, right? Sometimes we have to delay certain tasks or projects to focus on more urgent matters. It's like acknowledging that we can't do everything at once, and that's okay. But I imagine it can be frustrating when, despite our best efforts, we end up back to square one.
Oh, absolutely. It signifies that feeling of having to start over often after setbacks or unforeseen challenges. It can be a blow to our ego and motivation.
Right.
But it's also an opportunity to reassess our approach and come up with new strategies.
Right. It's like saying, okay, this didn't work, so let's rethink our approach and try something different. And sometimes that something different requires us to think outside the box.
That's where creativity and innovation come into play. It's about breaking free from conventional thinking and exploring new possibilities, challenging the status quo and coming up with unconventional solutions.
It's like saying, let's not be limited by the way things have always been done. Let's push boundaries and see what we can come up with. It's fascinating how these work and business idioms reflect the need for both focus and flexibility. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. They highlight the importance of being able to adapt, to prioritize, and to constantly seek new solutions. Now, I don't know about you, but all this talk about work is making me hungry. How about we move on to some food-related idioms?
Perfect timing. I was just thinking the same thing. Sometimes we get a little too ambitious and bite off more than we can chew.
That's a relatable one. It's about taking on too much, overcommitting ourselves, and then struggling to keep up.
Yeah.
It can apply to work relationships, even our personal goals.
It's like saying, I thought I could handle all of this, but now I'm feeling overwhelmed. And then there are things that are just not our cup of tea.
It's a polite way of saying we don't enjoy something. It acknowledges personal preferences without being dismissive or judgmental.
Right. It's like saying, I respect your taste, but this just isn't for me. It's a gentle way to navigate those differences in taste and preferences. But no matter what our preferences are, it's important to remember not to cry over spilled milk.
It's a reminder that dwelling on past mistakes or things we can't change is unproductive. It's about accepting what's happened and moving forward.
It's like saying, okay, that was a bummer, but I can't change it. Now let's focus on what I can do going forward. However, sometimes those spilled milk moments land us in hot water.
That's when we're facing consequences, often due to our own actions or mistakes. It implies a sense of trouble or difficulty.
It's like saying, I messed up and now I'm dealing with the fallout in those situations. It's probably best not to spill the beans and make things worse.
Right. Spilling the beans is about revealing secrets, often unintentionally. It can lead to embarrassment or complications, especially if the information was sensitive or confidential.
It's like saying, oops, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Yeah.
You know? I find it fascinating how these food-related idioms can be so vivid and relatable, even if we haven't literally experienced those situations.
It's the power of imagery and shared cultural understanding. They tap into those universal experiences of overcommitting, having preferences, making mistakes, and facing consequences.
Okay, I'm ready to move on to our next course of idioms. Let's dive into the world of emotions and reactions. What do you think? Are you ready to explore this fascinating realm of language?
Absolutely. Emotions and reactions. This is where idioms truly shine, expressing complex feelings in a way that resonates across cultures.
It's like they provide a shortcut to understanding those nuanced emotions we all experience now when someone expresses an idea perfectly. We might say they hit the nail on the head.
Precisely, it's about accuracy, getting something exactly right. It's like that satisfying feeling when a puzzle piece clicks into place.
And speaking of things falling into place, sometimes what seems like a negative event turns out to be a blessing in disguise.
That's about finding the silver lining, the unexpected positive outcome.
Right.
It reminds us that things don't always go as planned, but sometimes those unexpected detours lead us to something better.
It's like saying, okay, this wasn't what I expected, but maybe it's working out for the best. But let's face it, some situations present us with a hard pill to swallow.
Ah, yes. Those difficult truths or realities that are tough to accept. It's that moment when we have to confront something unpleasant.
Right.
Or acknowledge a mistake.
It's like saying, this is hard to hear, but I need to accept it. And sometimes that acceptance comes with a side of nervousness or hesitation, those cold feet moments.
Those feelings are so relatable. It's that feeling of doubt or anxiety before a big event or decision. We've all been there, haven't we?
Absolutely. It's like that internal battle between excitement and fear. But in those moments of uncertainty, it's important to remember to keep your chin up.
That's about staying positive and resilient in the face of challenges. It's a reminder to focus on what we can control and to keep moving forward.
It's like saying, this is tough, but I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
You know what I find fascinating about these emotion-related idioms is how they capture those universal human experiences we all go through.
Exactly. They provide a shared language for expressing those ups and downs of life, those moments of joy, disappointment, hesitation, and resilience.
Okay, I'm feeling energized and ready to take action. Let's move on to those idioms that focus on action and decision-making. What do you think ready to delve into this next category?
Ready when you are. Let's explore those phrases that capture the essence of initiative, choice, and commitment. And speaking of commitment, going the extra mile is a great place to start.
It's about exceeding expectations, putting in that extra effort to achieve something truly remarkable. It's that willingness to go above and beyond what's required.
Exactly. It's like saying, I'm not just going to meet the bare minimum, I'm going to strive for excellence. And then there's the phenomenon of jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Which reflects how trends and ideas spread.
It's about joining a popular movement or trend, often with a sense of enthusiasm and excitement.
Right. It's like saying, this seems interesting, count me in. But sometimes the big approach is to play it by ear.
That's about being flexible. adapting to circumstances as they unfold. It's about embracing spontaneity and being open to change.
It's like saying, let's see what happens and make decisions as we go. But even with the best intentions, sometimes we have to acknowledge when it's time to throw in the towel.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But it's about recognizing when to stop pursuing something that's not working. It's about accepting defeat and moving on.
It's like saying, I've given it my best shot, but it's time to let go. And then there are those situations where the ball is in your court.
That's about passing the responsibility for decision-making to someone else. It's about acknowledging their agency and waiting for their response.
It's like saying, okay, I've done my part, now it's your turn to make a move. I think these action and decision-making idioms are so valuable because they provide a framework for navigating those pivotal moments in life.
They do. They help us understand the dynamics of commitment, flexibility, surrender, and responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think they can make us feel more confident and articulate when facing those moments of choice.
Absolutely. They give us the language to express our intentions, to navigate uncertainty, and to respond to changing circumstances. Now, how about we shift our focus to those idioms that help us understand the complexities of conversations and relationships, ready to delve into the realm of social dynamics?
Absolutely. This is where things get really interesting. I love how idioms can help us decipher those subtle cues and unspoken rules of social interaction. And what better way to start than with a penny for your thoughts?
It's a gentle invitation to share what's on your mind, showing genuine interest in the other person's perspective. It's like saying, I'm curious about what you're thinking. And then there are those situations where the ball is in your court.
That's about passing the responsibility for decision-making to someone else. It's about acknowledging their agency and waiting for their response.
It's like saying, okay, I've done my part now, it's your turn to make a move. I think these action and decision-making idioms are so valuable because they provide a framework for navigating those pivotal moments in life.
They do. They help us understand the dynamics of commitment, flexibility, surrender, and responsibility. And I think they can make us feel more confident and articulate when facing those moments of choice.
Absolutely. They give us the language to express our intentions, to navigate uncertainty, and to respond to changing circumstances. All right. How about we shift our focus to those idioms that help us understand the complexities of conversations and relationships, ready to delve into the realm of social dynamics?
Absolutely. This is where things get really interesting. I love how idioms can help us decipher those subtle cues and unspoken rules of social interaction. And what better way to start than with a penny for your thoughts?
It's a gentle invitation to share what's on your mind, showing genuine interest in the other person's perspective. It's like saying, I'm curious about what you're thinking.
And sometimes it's necessary to keep an eye on something or someone, especially if there's a sense of concern or potential risk.
It's about being observant, paying attention to details and potential changes that can apply to situations or relationships, even our own goals and aspirations.
Right. It's like saying, let's stay vigilant and aware of what's happening. But sometimes, despite our best efforts, we find ourselves barking up the wrong tree.
That's about being mistaken pursuing a line of thought or action that leads to a dead end. It's about realizing we've made a wrong assumption or misjudged a situation.
It's like saying, oops, I was wrong about that. But even when we make mistakes, it's comforting to know that we're all in the same boat.
That's about shared experiences facing similar challenges or circumstances. It reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles.
It's like saying we're in this together, and sometimes it's necessary to acknowledge that past conflicts or issues are water under the bridge.
That's about letting go of past grievances, choosing to move forward without holding on to resentment or anger.
It's like saying, that was then, this is now. It's about forgiveness and reconciliation. I find these conversation and relationship idioms to be incredibly helpful in navigating those sometimes tricky waters of social interaction.
Me too. They provide insights into social dynamics, helping us understand how to express interest, show concern, navigate disagreements, and ultimately build stronger connections with others.
All right, as our metaphorical day winds down, let's explore some idioms related to evenings and relaxation. What have we got?
Ah, yes. Those phrases that capture the essence of winding down and finding respite, call it a night, is a perfect example. It signifies the decision to end an activity and rest.
It's like saying, okay, I'm done for today, time to recharge. And sometimes before we rest, we need to wipe the slate clean. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
That's about starting fresh, forgiving ourselves or others for past mistakes and embracing new beginnings. It's that feeling of letting go of burdens and stepping into a new day with a renewed sense of hope.
It's like saying, okay, let's forget about what happened and start over. But of course, before we start over, we have to acknowledge those moments when time flies, when you're having fun.
That captures that feeling of being so engrossed in something enjoyable that we lose track of time. It's a reminder to savor those moments of joy and to embrace activities that make us feel fully alive.
It's like saying, wow, I can't believe how quickly the time has passed. It often happens when we're engaged in something we love, whether it's spending time with loved ones pursuing a hobby or simply being present in the moment.
It does. It's a reminder to cherish those moments and to prioritize activities that bring us joy and fulfillment.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this section. What do you think? Are you ready for our final round of idioms?
Ready and excited. It's amazing how much ground we've covered exploring the nuances of these everyday expressions.
Absolutely. Okay, so for our final act, let's delve into those idioms that help us talk about time and change. What do you have in store for us?
Well, let's start with a phrase that evokes a sense of nostalgia. That was a lifetime ago. It emphasizes how distant a past event feels, as if it belongs to a different era.
It's like saying, wow, so much has happened since then. It feels like a completely different life. It really captures that feeling of time slipping away and how experiences shape our perception of the past.
It does, and sometimes we encounter situations where everything seems to shift dramatically, like it's a whole new ball game.
That's a great one for describing those major life changes that require us to adapt and learn new rules, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, or even a new phase of life. It's like saying, everything's different now. I need a new approach.
Exactly. But even when things change drastically, it's important to keep your eye on the prize, to stay focused on our goals despite the inevitable challenges and distractions that come our way.
It's about maintaining that sense of purpose and motivation, reminding ourselves why we started this journey in the first place. It's like saying, I won't let setbacks deter me. I'm going to achieve what I set out to do. It's a powerful reminder to stay resilient and committed, wouldn't you say?
I agree. And sometimes when we're striving towards those big goals, we need to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. It's a call for patience and persistence, acknowledging that meaningful progress takes time and effort.
It's like saying it's okay if things don't happen overnight. I'm in this for the long haul. It's about trusting the process and celebrating those small victories along the way.
Right.
And speaking of time, there's a timeless truth in the saying, time heals all wounds.
That speaks to the restorative power of time, its ability to soften the sharp edges of pain and heartache. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, things will eventually get better.
It's like saying this hurts now, but I know that with time, the pain will ease. It's a message of hope and resilience.
It is. And looking back on all the idioms we've explored today, I'm struck by how much they reveal about the human experience. They capture our joys and sorrows, our triumphs and setbacks, our hopes and fears.
They provide this incredible insight into how we perceive the world, how we relate to each other, and how we navigate the complexities of life. It's like each idiom is a tiny window into the human heart, revealing our shared vulnerabilities and our enduring strength.
What's fascinating is how these phrases, often passed down through generations, continue to resonate with us today. They connect us to our shared cultural heritage and remind us that we're not alone in our experiences.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to encourage our listener to keep exploring the world of idioms. Don't be afraid to use them in your conversations, to experiment, and to have fun with language.
Embrace the challenge, and you'll be amazed at how much richer your communication becomes. It's like adding vibrant colors to a painting, bringing depth and texture to your expression.
And remember, language learning is an ongoing journey. There's always something new to discover, some hidden gem waiting to be unearthed. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those conversations flowing.
Until next time, happy language learning.
So diving into idioms, it's like, I think these are actually kind of a secret weapon for sounding really fluent in English. You know what I mean?
Right. It's not just about knowing the words. It's about really using them the way native speakers do.
Exactly. So how about we unpack some of those quirky phrases, those idioms, and really get into how to actually use them in conversations.
Sounds good. And you know what I think is so cool about idioms is that they often have this vivid picture that goes way beyond just the words themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Imagine someone says, break a leg before you go on stage or give a big presentation.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Yeah, right.
You'd think they were wishing you harm.
Exactly.
But it actually means good luck.
It does. And it's thought to have come from this old theater superstition where, directly wishing someone good luck would actually give them bad luck.
Oh, wow.
So break a leg was this reverse psychology thing.
That is so interesting. It's kind of like, when people say knock on wood, to ward off bad vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of superstitions, have you ever heard the phrase once in a blue moon?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I even use it myself sometimes. But to be honest, I never really thought about like what a blue moon actually is.
Well, it doesn't really mean that the moon actually turns blue. It's just like a fun way of saying that something happens super rarely. Like, I only eat junk food once in a blue moon.
Right, right. It just adds a little like color to your English.
It does.
I love that. It's like those idioms make language so much more like expressive and interesting, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, imagine you're at a party, right? And you accidentally like spill this huge secret.
Oh.
In English, we'd say you let the cat out of the bag.
Ooh, I like that one. I could just picture it. Like that secret's a cat and it's like bursting out of a bag that you were supposed to keep closed.
Exactly, yeah. And it often happens, totally by accident, which kind of makes it even funnier.
Totally. But is there like a different idiom we use if someone reveals a secret on purpose?
Oh, yeah, totally. We'd say they spill the beans. Like they're deliberately giving away information, maybe even gossiping a little.
Oh, so it's all about intention. Letting the cat out of the bag is an accident and spilling the beans is like on purpose. Okay, I'm starting to see the nuances here.
Exactly. And that's what makes mastering idioms so rewarding. You're not just learning like vocabulary lists. You're learning how native speakers actually express themselves.
That's a good point. Speaking of beans, I've been meaning to ask you about this one. What does it mean to spill the tea? I hear that one all the time these days.
Oh, that is such a good example of how idioms, can change over time. Spilling the tea is, well, it's more of a slang term, really. It means gossiping or sharing, like, juicy information. But it has this, like, extra layer of excitement or drama to it.
So it's like a modern-day version of spilling the beans.
Exactly. Language never sits still. It's always evolving. And idioms reflect that. So, you got to stay on top of the trends to keep your English sounding, well, fresh and natural.
I'm already feeling so much more confident, honestly. Like, this deep dive is giving me the tools to, not just understand these idioms, but actually use them myself.
That's fantastic. And remember, learning idioms should be fun. Don't be afraid to play around with them and experiment.
I'm ready for more. Let's keep exploring.
Okay, let's do it. As you kind of level up in your English learning journey, you'll start seeing these idioms that are a bit more like, well, nuanced, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like they might show up in some pretty specific situations, like maybe at work or, out with friends.
Right. Okay. So like, are there any idioms that I could use to like impress my boss during a meeting? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So like, let's say you're starting a brand new project and you really want to show your boss that you're ready to like jump right in and get things done. You could say something like, I'm ready to hit the ground running.
Okay. I like that one. I could totally see myself using that.
Right. It just sounds so much better than just like saying, I'm ready to work hard.
Totally. It's like way more dynamic,
Yeah.
Like you're not just willing to work, but you're already like in motion and full of energy and ready to go.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So what about if I need to describe a situation where someone like took on way too much, like they're in over their head?
Oh, there's a perfect idiom for that. You could say they bit off more than they can chew.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love that one. It's so visual too,
Right.
Like you can really picture someone like trying to take this huge bite and then realizing like, oh no, I can't actually handle this.
Yeah, exactly. And we've all been there, right? Like taking on too many tasks or commitments and then realizing, whoops, maybe I should have said no to a few of those.
Totally been there.
And sometimes, you have to like step back and kind of prioritize what's really important.
For sure.
And that's where the idiom put something on the back burner comes in.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's like saying, okay, this is important, but it can wait for now.
Exactly, yeah. You're not saying it's not important, just that it's not the top priority right this second.
Right. Okay, so that's super useful in a work context for sure.
Totally. And sometimes, you just need a fresh perspective on something. So you might ask for like a fresh pair of eyes on a project.
Oh yeah, that's a great one too. I've definitely been in situations where I'm like too close to a problem and I need someone else to like take a look and give me their opinion.
Exactly. It's like you're stuck in your own head and you need someone to come in with a different point of view.
Totally. It's amazing how these idioms can like capture those tricky work situations so perfectly.
Right. Okay, but let's shift gears a bit and talk about some social situations.
Okay, cool.
So imagine you're hanging out with friends and someone suggests doing something that you're like really not into. Like maybe they want to go bungee jumping, but you're terrified of heights.
Oh no.
You could politely decline by saying, it's not my cup of tea.
Okay, I like that one. That's a good way to say no without like being rude or, making a big deal out of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about like keeping things light and avoiding any awkwardness.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like, no way, that's crazy.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Okay, so idioms are all about expressing yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
But like in a way that takes the social situation into account.
exactly. Yeah. They can help you navigate those subtle social dynamics.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So speaking of awkward situations, have you ever like made a mistake and just wanted to pretend it never happened?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Well, in those moments, you might say, don't cry over spilled milk.
Oh, okay. So it's like a reminder that dwelling on past mistakes doesn't really help anything.
Right. It's better to just learn from the experience and move on.
Totally. That's such good advice. And not just for language learning either.
Exactly. It applies to pretty much every area of life.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so speaking of life lessons, did you ever hear that saying, the early bird gets the worm?
Oh, of course. It's a classic.
My grandma used to say that all the time. It's all about being proactive and like seizing opportunities, right?
Exactly. It's like that whole idea of, the early bird gets the worm. So if you want to succeed, you got to be willing to get up early and put in the effort.
Yeah, make things happen.
Exactly. Okay, so on that note, I think we should get down to business and move on to some advanced idioms.
Ooh, okay, I'm ready. Bring on the challenge. Okay, hit me with those advanced level idioms. I'm feeling pretty good after those beginner and intermediate ones. Like, what kind of super cool phrases are we getting into now?
Well, think about this. You're in a meeting, right? And you want to make sure everyone is really like thinking critically about an idea. You could say something like, let's play devil's advocate for a moment.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely heard that one before. But honestly, I never really knew exactly how to use it myself.
Right.
So it's like you're intentionally taking the opposite stance, right?
Yeah.
Just to kind of like spark some debate and make sure everyone is really thinking things through.
Exactly. It's like you're testing the strength of an argument and also making sure you're not just going along with the crowd.
Right. It shows you're really thinking deeply and considering all the angles.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. It's definitely a good way to make sure everyone's paying attention. Okay, here's one I've definitely experienced, but I never knew the idiom for it. You know when there's a big, obvious problem, but everyone is trying to just ignore it.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the elephant in the room.
Yes, that's it.
It's that issue that's like so glaringly obvious, but for some reason, nobody wants to address it.
Right. Like everyone's just tiptoeing around, pretending it's not there. It could be anything, really.
Yeah, a looming deadline, a conflict between people, anything.
It's so true. But like acknowledging it out loud, using that idiom,
Yeah.
that can actually be a good way to break the tension.
Totally. Sometimes just naming it, saying, okay, there's an elephant in the room here, can be the first step to actually dealing with the problem.
I like that. It shows you're not afraid to face the issue head on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got playing devil's advocate and naming the elephant. Those are some pretty good tools for navigating tricky conversations. Any other advanced idioms I should have in my back pocket?
Well, let's talk about skepticism. In this day and age, we're just bombarded with information all the time.
Right. From every direction.
It's so important to be a little discerning, don't just believe everything you hear at face value.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the idiom, take it with a grain of salt, comes in.
Okay, I've definitely heard that one before.
Yep.
But I'll be honest, I always thought it had something to do with actual salt.
Haha, right. Like literally taking a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But no, it actually means to approach information with a little bit of healthy skepticism. Don't just accept everything blindly. Do your research, think about who's saying it, form your own conclusions.
That is such a valuable skill these days with all the news and opinions flying around online. Knowing that idiom gives me a way to express that skepticism in a conversation.
Totally. And, sometimes people just try to avoid dealing with problems completely. They just keep pushing things off, hoping they'll magically disappear.
Oh, I know people like that. Always kicking the can down the road.
That's the one. It's like the perfect way to describe procrastination or avoiding responsibility. But those problems rarely solve themselves.
So true. It's better to just face the challenge rather than letting it get bigger and bigger.
I couldn't agree more. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about idioms for all kinds of situations, from expressing good luck to dealing with tricky conversations and difficult problems.
I feel like I could walk into any conversation now and just nail it.
That's great.
These idioms are more than just words. They're tools to really understand and express those subtle parts of English.
Absolutely. And the best part is, this is just the beginning. There are so many more idioms out there waiting to be discovered.
I'm ready for the challenge.
Keep exploring, keep practicing, and most importantly, have fun with it.
That's the best advice. Thanks so much for taking me on this deep dive into the world of idioms. It's been so much fun.
My pleasure. It's been great chatting with you. And remember, language is constantly evolving, so keep your ears open for new and interesting idioms. You never know what you might find. All right, listeners, so you're ready to kind of ditch that textbook English and really start sounding like a natural, right? We get it. You're so over... Hello, how are you?
It's time to level up.
Yeah, it's time to level up.
Right.
Dive into the kind of phrases that native speakers actually use. You know, the ones that add color and personality to their conversations.
That's right. We're going way beyond basic vocabulary here.
Yeah.
This is about understanding those subtle nuances of everyday English.
Yes.
And how to use them to express yourself more effectively.
And luckily for us, you've shared some really cool source material.
Yes.
A script from an advanced English learning podcast.
That's right.
But instead of just listing out the phrases, we're going to unpack what makes them advanced and how they reveal some really interesting things about the way English speakers think.
Exactly. It's like taking a peek behind the curtain of everyday language.
I love that. Okay, so let's jump right in.
Okay.
We'll start by imagining you're waking up, you know, maybe feeling a little groggy. And instead of just saying, I need coffee, you drop, I could really use a coffee. What's the difference here?
Well, on the surface, they seem similar, but I could really use a coffee adds this layer of urgency, almost desperation,
Right.
without being overly dramatic.
Yes.
You know, it's like saying, this coffee isn't just a want, it's a need.
Right. It's like you're subtly hinting that if you don't get that caffeine fix soon, you might just short circuit.
Right.
But in a funny way, of course.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then there's the classic, I'm running on fumes. Now, that's a phrase that really paints a picture.
It does.
Yeah.
It makes me think of like a beat-up old car sputtering down the road about to conk out.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Right.
It's funny because it taps into this kind of shared cultural understanding of cars and, you know, their limitations, but it also subtly highlights that feeling of being totally depleted, you know, like you've used up all your energy reserves.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you've had your coffee, maybe stumbled through a few emails. Now imagine you're at work or school and someone wants to schedule a meeting. Instead of just saying, let's talk later, you hit them with, let's touch base later. Now, this is one of my favorites because it sounds so professional yet casual at the same time.
It is. And it's a great example of how advanced English speakers often use indirect language, especially in professional settings. Let's touch base later is less formal than scheduling a specific meeting, but it still shows that you're interested in connecting.
Right. It's like saying, I'm open to talking, but let's keep it flexible for now.
And that flexibility is key. It allows you to manage your time and your workload without committing to anything concrete just yet.
So it's a great way to sound approachable while still maintaining control of your schedule. I like it.
It's a subtle power move, for sure. Now, another phrase from the work section that caught my eye was, I'll pencil it in. There's something about this phrase that just feels so non-committal.
Totally. It makes me think of those old appointment books where you could just easily erase something if plans changed.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this phrase conveys. You're acknowledging the request, but you're not carving it in stone. It's like saying, I'm willing to try to make this work, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So it's perfect for those situations where you want to be helpful, but also need to leave yourself some wiggle room.
Exactly. And that's something you'll notice about a lot of these advanced phrases. They allow you to navigate social situations with more finesse and diplomacy.
Okay, so we've conquered the morning and survived the workday.
Yeah.
Now it's time to unwind and maybe meet up with some friends.
Sounds like a good plan. See what phrases we could find for that. From those social conversation phrases, what's the game plan? Always stands out to me. It's so casual and playful,
I know.
yet it's used all the time by native English speakers.
All the time. And it's funny how it borrows from the world of sports, even when you're just talking about, you know, what to do that evening. It's definitely more dynamic than just saying, what's the plan?
Right. It suggests this sense of strategy and excitement, you know,
Yeah.
like you're embarking on a fun adventure together. And it really highlights how English speakers often use these metaphors from different domains
Yes.
to add color and energy to their language.
And then there's I'm on the fence. I love this one because it uses such a vivid image to express indecision.
It's a great example of how a simple metaphor can really add depth and complexity to a statement.
Right.
Instead of just saying, I don't know,
Right.
you're conveying this sense of internal struggle, like you're weighing the options carefully.
It's like you're saying, I see both sides, and I'm stuck in the middle trying to make a decision.
Exactly. And that visual imagery makes it more engaging for the listener, you know? Instead of just hearing you state your indecision, they can actually picture you teetering on that fence.
Okay, so let's say you've made a decision. You're hanging out with friends, but you're starting to feel a bit tired.
Okay.
This is where a phrase like, let's wind down, comes in handy.
Oh, I love how gentle this phrase sounds. It suggests a gradual transition from, a state of activity to a more relaxed mode.
It's like slowly turning down the volume on the day.
And it reflects this cultural value of taking time to de-stress, to unwind after a busy day.
Yes.
It's not about abruptly stopping everything, but easing into a state of rest and rejuvenation.
It's almost like acknowledging that you need time to recharge your batteries before you can fully switch off. Now I'm running out of steam. From that same section that you shared, that one really resonates with me. It perfectly captures that feeling of having depleted your energy reserves.
It does, doesn't it? It's like admitting that you've hit a wall and you need to slow down.
Sometimes I feel like we could all benefit from embracing this phrase more. It's a way to acknowledge our limits and prioritize self-care.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that it's okay to step back and take a break when you need it. And it's a great phrase to use with colleagues or friends when you need to signal that it's time to wrap things up.
Speaking of wrapping things up, let's call it a night, is a classic way to signal that the day is done.
It is. And it's often used in a communal setting,
Yes.
implying a shared decision to, end the activity and head home. There's a sense of camaraderie in it,
I agree.
like you're all in this together.
It's like saying, okay, team, we've had a good run, but it's time to hit the reset button and recharge for tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's often a sense of satisfaction implied, like you've accomplished what you set out to do,
Yes.
and now it's time to relax and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Going through these phrases, it strikes me how much they reveal about our daily routines and social interactions.
It's true. They're not just about conveying information, they're about navigating social situations smoothly
Right.
and building connections with others. And they often tap into shared cultural values and understandings.
Now, before we move on, there were a couple more phrases from the work and productivity section that I thought were really interesting.
Oh, do tell. Which ones caught your eye?
Well, one that really stood out was, let's put this on the back burner. I love how it allows you to prioritize without completely dismissing something.
It's a brilliant way to acknowledge a task's importance while also deferring it to a later time. It's like saying, we see you, task, but you're not the main course right now. We'll get to you eventually.
And it's much gentler than just saying, no, we're not doing that right now.
Exactly. It maintains a sense of collaboration and keeps the lines of communication open. Now, another phrase from that section that I find quite interesting is, that's a no-brainer.
I know, it's so satisfying to say, like you're stating the obvious in a confident and even slightly playful way.
It is.
Yeah.
And it often implies that the decision is so clear-cut that it requires no real thought. It's like saying, come on, this is easy. Even a child could figure this out.
So I imagine there are times when using it might come across as a bit arrogant, right?
That's a good point. You definitely want to be mindful of the context in your relationship with the person you're speaking to. But used appropriately, it can be a great way to express certainty and conviction.
Okay, so back burner for things we can postpone and no-brainer for the obvious choices. What else do we have from that section?
Yes. I need to wrap my head around this is another one that highlights a common experience.
Yes.
Grappling with a complex concept.
It's so relatable. It's like you're saying, give me a minute to process this information. My brain is doing somersaults trying to make sense of it all.
Exactly. And it's a great way to buy yourself some time and mental space to think things through.
Now, finally, from the work and productivity section, we have, let's call it a wrap.
This one feels very decisive.
It does.
Like you're drawing a clear line in the sand and saying, we're done here, time to move on.
It does. And it often comes with a sense of accomplishment, a shared feeling of we did it. It's a great way to boost morale and celebrate teamwork.
It's like a verbal high five. Okay, so we've covered some great phrases for wrapping up the workday.
We have.
But I'm curious, what are some phrases that can help us navigate those evening hours, especially when energy levels start to dip?
Right. And one that comes to mind is I'm running out of steam. It's a great way to express that feeling of depletion, like you've hit a wall and you need to recharge. Oh, it's so relatable. It's like saying, my battery's about to die, but in a more human, less robotic way.
Exactly. And it often implies a need for rest and rejuvenation. It's a signal to yourself and others that it's time to slow down and prioritize self-care.
It's like a gentle reminder that even the most energetic people need time to refuel,
It is. Now, you mentioned, let's call it a night earlier, which is a classic way to signal the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think what I like about that one is how it often becomes this shared decision. Like you're all agreeing to kind of collectively hit the pause button and embrace the rest.
Absolutely. There's a sense of camaraderie in it, a recognition that you've all put in the effort, and now it's time to unwind together.
Okay, so we've explored all these fantastic phrases, but I'm curious what exactly makes them advanced? What sets them apart from the more basic vocabulary we learn in textbooks?
That's a great question. One key factor is their nuance. They often convey meaning beyond just the literal words, like let's touch base later, for example. It's not just about talking, it's about a specific type of check-in, one that's brief and informal.
Right, and I'll pencil it in is more than just a simple yes. It suggests flexibility, a possibility of change.
Exactly. Another element is their idiomatic nature. These phrases aren't always grammatically straightforward, but they're packed with meaning. Running on fumes isn't something you'd typically find in a textbook.
Right, but it paints such a vivid picture and connects to a shared experience we all understand.
And I'm on the fence. That's a metaphor that adds a layer of depth to a simple statement of indecision. It brings a visual element to the conversation.
Okay, so nuance, idiomatic expressions. What else?
Well, advanced language users are also very attuned to context. These phrases can have slightly different meanings depending on the situation.
Oh, that's so true. Like, let's call it a rap. Could be the celebratory declaration after a successful project, or it could be a sigh of relief after a particularly challenging day.
Precisely, and that's where observation comes in. Pay attention to how native speakers use these phrases, the subtle shifts in tone, the accompanying body language. All of that contributes to the meaning.
So it's not just about memorizing phrases, it's about understanding their nuances, their cultural implications, their flexibility.
Exactly. It's about developing a feel for the language, a sense of how it's used in real-life situations.
So listener, I hope you're feeling inspired to start sprinkling these advanced phrases into your own conversations. Don't be afraid to experiment and have fun with it.
Yes, and remember that fluency isn't about perfection. It's about confidence and connection. The more you use these phrases, the more natural they'll become.
And who knows, you might even start noticing them pop up in conversations around you.
That's a great point. As you become more attuned to these nuances, you'll start hearing them everywhere. And that's when you know you're really starting to master the language.
It's like unlocking a secret level of communication. Well, listener, we've reached the end of our deep dive into advanced English phrases. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and learned some valuable tips for leveling up your conversation skills. Remember, the key is to keep practicing, keep experimenting, and most importantly, have fun with it.
All right, so are you ready for this? You've sent in quite a collection of notes and lists and excerpts all about advanced English idioms.
Wow.
It's really impressive. And it looks like you're trying to level up your conversational fluency, and I am totally here for it. And lucky for us, we've got an expert here who can unpack not just what these idioms mean, but also like where they come from and how to use them, like a pro.
I think it's so fascinating to see so many idioms that go beyond just the basic ones that everyone knows.
Right.
You've chosen phrases that are really expressive and that can add a whole new dimension to your communication.
Exactly. And you know what always gets me about idioms? It's like they're like these little time capsules.
Right.
You know, they give us a glimpse into how people thought and spoke in the past. Like they burn the candle at both ends. Who knew there was so much history packed into that phrase?
Right. That one takes us all the way back to when candles were the main source of light.
Wow.
So, burning a candle at both ends meant you were really pushing your limits, working late into the night, rising early. It's really fascinating how that image has stayed with us.
Right.
Even though we don't use candles in the same way anymore.
I know, right. So it's not just a saying, it's like a whole story.
Exactly.
And speaking of stories,
yes,
we've got a whole section here about morning and productivity idioms. And I got to say, some of them are a little too relatable, if you know what I mean.
Well, it makes sense, though, doesn't it? Because, work and productivity are such big parts of our lives.
Oh, for sure.
That it's only natural that these things would find their way into our language.
Right.
And these idioms often use very vivid imagery to capture those feelings of hustle and pressure.
For sure. Like, hit the ground running.
Oh, yeah.
I swear that's me every Monday morning. It's like you're trying to catch up before you've even had your coffee.
It's such a powerful image, isn't it? You can practically feel the momentum and the urgency in that phrase.
Right.
And then there's keep your nose to the grindstone.
Yes.
I mean, that one really evokes a sense of relentless effort, almost like you're physically grinding away at a task.
Okay, but isn't keep your nose to the grindstone sometimes seen as kind of a negative thing? Like mindlessly working without questioning things.
That's a great point. It definitely can have that connotation, especially in today's world where we really value, creativity and critical thinking.
Right.
The idiom itself might come from the image of sharpening tools on a grindstone.
Oh, okay.
Which requires a lot of focus and repetitive motion. So it does reflect a certain work ethic, but maybe not always the most innovative one.
Interesting. So it's like the idiom itself has evolved along with our changing attitudes toward work.
Exactly.
But sometimes you just need that reminder to buckle down and get things done, right?
Totally.
And speaking of perspective shifts, there's a blessing in disguise.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds us that things aren't always what they seem.
Absolutely. It's about finding the silver lining, recognizing that setbacks can sometimes lead to unexpected opportunities.
Right.
It encourages a more optimistic outlook even when we are faced with challenges.
So true. Okay, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
Work idioms can be a bit tricky.
I agree.
I mean, you got to use them carefully depending on who you're talking to and what you're trying to say.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Some of these idioms, especially those used in business contexts, require a certain level of awareness and finesse.
For sure. Like playing devil's advocate.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that one backfire spectacularly when used in the wrong way.
Oh, definitely. It's all about tone and intent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Playing devil's advocate can be a powerful tool for stimulating discussion and challenging assumptions. Yeah.
But if you're not careful, it can come across as argumentative or even disrespectful.
Exactly. So how do you use it effectively without, sounding like a jerk?
First, it's crucial to establish a rapport with the person that you're speaking with.
Okay.
Make it very clear that your intention is to explore different perspectives, not to attack their ideas.
Okay.
You might even preface it with something like, just to play devil's advocate for a moment.
Right.
Or you could say, let me challenge that assumption.
Right.
Something like that.
That makes sense. It's like setting the stage for a constructive debate rather than a personal attack.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about winning an argument.
Right.
It's about broadening perspectives and potentially uncovering new insights.
Right.
But sometimes there are situations where being direct is the best approach.
For sure.
Like addressing the elephant in the room.
Oh, I love that one. It's so evocative. Like you can practically feel the tension in the air. It's a powerful way to acknowledge an unspoken issue or problem that everyone is aware of but hesitant to address directly.
Yeah.
It can be uncomfortable, but also incredibly liberating to finally bring it out into the open.
Right.
And it can certainly be more effective than beating around the bush.
Okay, but can we talk about the fun idioms for a second?
Oh, yeah.
The ones that just make you smile when you hear them?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
There's a certain playfulness to some idioms, especially those related to social situations and food.
Right. Like, bite off more than you can chew. It's such a vivid image. And I feel like we've all been there at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Like that time I tried to bake a 5-tier cake for my friend's birthday.
Oh, no.
Let's just say it didn't end well.
That's a perfect example. It's about taking on more than you can handle.
Right.
Whether it's a project or a commitment or even a plate of food.
For sure. And it's interesting how food imagery is often used to express complex emotions or experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh, I see what you did there. Food for thought. Right.
Exactly.
But you're totally right.
Yeah.
Like spill the beans. It's such a lighthearted way to talk about revealing a secret.
Right.
Even if the secret itself might be serious.
Exactly. It takes something potentially awkward or tense and frames it in a more playful way.
Yeah.
And not my cup of tea.
Oh, yeah?
It's a gentle way to express disinterest without being harsh or judgmental.
Right.
It allows you to politely decline something without offending the other person.
Right. It's like saying, hey, I respect your thing, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. Everyone has their own preferences. But speaking of things we'd rather avoid.
Uh-oh.
Can we talk about crying over spilled milk for a second?
Okay.
I feel like that's something we're all guilty of sometimes, even though we know it's not helpful.
Oh, absolutely. It's a reminder that dwelling on the past especially on things we can't change,
Right.
is rarely productive. It's about accepting what is learning from our mistakes and moving on.
That actually leads perfectly into the next section.
Which is, don't keep me in suspense.
Emotions and reactions.
Okay.
This is where idioms get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because they allow us to express those tricky feelings that are hard to put into words.
Absolutely. Idioms give us a shared vocabulary for navigating complex emotional terrain.
Yeah.
It's like they provide a shorthand for experiences we all understand.
Like hit the nail on the head, for example.
Oh, yeah.
It perfectly captures that feeling of getting something exactly right.
Yes.
Whether it's an idea or an explanation or even a joke.
And a hard pill to swallow.
Ooh, yeah.
That one evokes a sense of resistance, of something being difficult to accept, even if we know it's true.
Right.
It's like you can almost feel that lump in your throat as you're trying to force it down.
It's such a visceral image, isn't it? And then there's cold feet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who hasn't experienced those pre-event jitters at some point in their lives?
It's a universal feeling of hesitation or anxiety, usually before a big decision or event.
Yeah.
And the idiom perfectly captures that sense of wanting to back out, even though you've already committed.
But then you have idioms like keep your chin up.
Yes.
That are all about resilience and staying positive even when things are tough.
That one speaks to a cultural value, I think. This idea of facing adversity with courage and determination, of not letting setbacks define you. It's about finding the strength to keep going even when it feels difficult.
And let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best advice you can give.
It's about choosing your battles, knowing when to let go of past grievances or conflicts that are no longer serving you.
Right.
It's recognizing that sometimes stirring things up will only make the situation worse.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Oh, tell me more.
A lot of these idioms seem to be about taking action.
Okay.
Making decisions and figuring out how to move forward.
You're right. That's a great observation.
Yeah.
Our next batch of idioms is all about agency and how we navigate the choices we face in life. They offer a glimpse into how we approach challenges, make decisions, and ultimately shape our own destinies.
Okay, so let's talk about throwing in the towel.
Okay.
That's a pretty powerful image, right?
Yeah.
Like admitting defeat, but also having the strength to walk away.
Exactly. It's recognizing when a situation is no longer worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And having the courage to move on. It's not always easy, but sometimes it's the most sensible choice.
Right. And then there's the ball is in your court.
Oh, yeah.
I use that one all the time, especially at work.
Yeah.
It's a great way to hand off responsibility without being, bossy about it.
It's a subtle way to shift the onus onto the other person, making it clear that it's their turn to act.
Right.
It's often used in negotiations or collaborative projects where clear communication about roles and expectations is really crucial.
So it's all about setting boundaries and being clear about who's doing what.
Exactly.
I like that. But sometimes you just got to go with the flow, right?
Yeah, right.
That's where play it by ear comes in handy.
Absolutely. It's a flexible approach, open to improvisation and serendipity. It can be very liberating, especially in situations where you don't have all the information or where things are constantly changing.
Totally. Like when you're traveling and you don't have a strict itinerary, you just see where the day takes you.
Exactly.
But as you said, it can be risky if you need a solid plan.
Right.
Speaking of risk, what about jumping on the bandwagon?
Okay.
I feel like that one can be either positive or negative, depending on the context.
It definitely has two sides to it.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it speaks to our social nature, our desire to be part of something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
But it can also lead to herd mentality.
Oh, for sure.
Where people blindly follow trends without thinking critically.
That's so true. It's like just because everyone else is doing something doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Sometimes you need to step back and ask yourself, am I doing this because I genuinely believe in it?
Right.
Or am I just following the crowd?
Exactly. Critical thinking is key.
Yeah.
And speaking of questioning things, how about barking up the wrong tree?
Okay.
I think we've all been there at some point, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. Like I can think of a few embarrassing situations where I was completely off track, like blaming the wrong person or focusing on the wrong problem.
It's a good reminder to check our assumptions to make sure we're focusing our energy in the right direction.
Right.
Sometimes we need to step back, reassess the situation, and maybe even ask for help to get a fresh perspective.
Right. Because sometimes you're so focused on your own viewpoint
Right.
that you miss the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk about conversations and relationships.
Okay.
Idioms play a huge role in how we communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to those subtle nuances
Right.
that are hard to express directly.
You're absolutely right. These idioms offer fascinating insights into the dynamics of human interaction,
Yeah.
from casual conversations to deep, meaningful connections.
Like a penny for your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a simple phrase,
Right.
but it shows genuine interest in what the other person is thinking or feeling. It's like an invitation to open up and share.
It's a gentle way to encourage communication
Yeah.
without being too intrusive. It creates a space for the other person to express themselves freely.
And then there's keep an eye on.
Yes.
It's not just about watching something literally, right?
Right.
It's also about being attentive,
Yeah.
caring,
Yeah.
looking out for someone.
Exactly. It conveys a sense of responsibility and concern. It can be used in a variety of contexts. From simply keeping an eye on a pot on the stove to looking after a friend who's going through a difficult time.
And all in the same boat. That one's a personal favorite.
Oh,
I think it's so powerful to remember that we're not alone in our struggles.
it fosters a sense of solidarity,
Yeah.
of shared experience. It reminds us that we're all connected, facing similar challenges and triumphs.
Yeah,
It can be incredibly comforting, especially during tough times.
it really can. It's like that feeling of knowing you're not the only one
Yeah.
who feels a certain way or has gone through a certain experience. It's a powerful reminder that we're all human
Yes.
and we're all in this together.
Absolutely. And sometimes in those shared experiences,
Yeah.
we need to let go of past hurts or disagreements.
Right.
That's where an idiom like water under the bridge comes in.
Oh, that's a good one. It's like saying, hey, we've moved on. Let's not dwell on old drama.
Exactly. It's all about forgiveness, reconciliation,
Yeah.
and recognizing that holding on to grudges only weighs us down.
Exactly. It's about choosing to focus on the present and the future rather than being bogged down by past conflicts.
And sometimes that means starting fresh.
Right.
Wiping the slate clean is a powerful image of new beginnings.
It really is. It's like
Yeah.
hitting the reset button on a relationship or a situation, giving everyone involved a chance to move forward without the baggage of the past.
And that can be incredibly liberating,
Yeah.
both for individuals and for relationships.
Right.
It allows for growth, healing,
Yeah.
and the possibility of building something stronger and more positive.
You know, talking about all these idioms has made me realize
Mm-hmm.
just how much they reflect our values and beliefs as a culture.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've got idioms about hard work,
Yeah.
resilience, second chances,
Yeah.
and the importance of connection. It's pretty fascinating.
It is, isn't it? Language is such a powerful tool for understanding ourselves
Yeah.
and the world around us.
Right.
And idioms, with their colorful imagery and their historical roots, offer a unique window into the human experience.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired to use all these idioms in my everyday conversations.
Yes.
But first, I think it's time to call it a night. What do you say?
Sounds good to me. It's been a fascinating deep dive
Yeah.
into the world of advanced English idioms.
It's like even the idioms we use to talk about relaxing and winding down reveal something about our culture.
That's so true. Like, even our leisure time
Yeah.
is influenced by those values and beliefs that we hold.
Like, take time flies when you're having fun. It's such a simple statement,
Right.
but it speaks volumes about how we perceive time
Yeah.
and enjoyment.
It really does.
It's like when you're completely absorbed in something that you love, you just lose track of everything else.
Yeah, you're just in the moment.
Yeah.
Completely present. It highlights the importance of finding those activities that bring us joy and make us feel truly present. And it suggests that those moments of genuine engagement
Yeah.
are precious and fleeting, which makes them all the more special.
And then there's get your act together. I feel like that one's been a constant refrain in my life, especially from my parents when I was younger.
It's a call to action, isn't it?
Yeah.
A reminder to take responsibility
Yeah.
for our choices and our behaviors. It can be a gentle nudge,
Right.
or it can be a stern warning, depending on the context.
Right.
But it always emphasizes the importance of self-improvement
Right.
and striving to be our best selves.
It's funny how those childhood sayings stick with us, isn't it?
It really is.
But, you know, Even though it might have sounded annoying at the time,
Yeah.
there's definitely some wisdom in that idiom.
Oh, yeah.
We all need those moments to step back and reassess to make sure we're on the right track.
Absolutely. It's about taking ownership of our lives,
Yeah.
setting goals, and making those conscious choices
Right.
that align with our values.
Wow, we've covered so much ground
I
today.
know, right?
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the power of idioms.
It's been a fascinating journey,
Yeah.
exploring the nuances of language and how it reflects our shared human experience.
Okay. My favorite has to be spill beans.
Oh, yeah.
It's so playful and visual, and it always makes me smile.
Yeah.
But I also love all in the same boat because it reminds me that we're not alone in our struggles and our
That's right.
triumphs.
Exactly.
What about you? Which idioms resonated most with you?
I'm drawn to a blessing in disguise. It's a reminder that even difficult experiences can have a positive impact on our lives.
Right.
It encourages us to look for the silver lining,
Yeah.
even when things feel challenging.
That's a great one. It's all about perspective, isn't it?
It is.
And finding meaning, even in the midst of adversity.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message to carry with us.
So, to all you listeners out there,
Yes.
I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of advanced English idioms. We've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But hopefully you've gained some new insights and maybe even a few phrases
Right.
to add to your conversational repertoire.
Remember, language is a living, breathing thing, constantly evolving and adapting. Embrace the richness and complexity of idioms, and don't be afraid to experiment with them in your own conversations.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
Yes!
After all, as we learned today, time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy idioming.
All right, welcome to the deep dive. You know why you're here, right? To get smart fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We take a mountain of info and dig out the gold. Today's gold mine, 50, count 'em, 50 advanced English words.
All neatly sorted by topic, so no matter what you're into, you'll find something.
That'll make you sound like a total pro. We're going way beyond just, dry dictionary definitions.
Think of it as your express lane to fluency.
We're going to dive deep into how to use these words in everyday life.
And in the professional world, too, we're talking productivity hacks.
Business smarts, tech talk, money matters.
Even, get this, how to understand your own emotions better.
All with these 50 powerhouse words.
Which, by the way, we've pulled from a resource made for advanced English learners.
Meaning, it's designed to help you grasp all the subtle shades of meaning.
We'll break it down category by category.
Giving you examples so you can see exactly how these words work in action.
Our mission,
Simple.
to give you a rock-solid understanding of these words.
And why they matter.
So, ready to dive in?
Let's go.
First up, a topic that hits home for all of us. Productivity and time management.
Oh yeah, time, the ultimate treasure. This is something we all grapple with every single day.
And the better we understand these words, the more we can, master our time, right?
Totally. Our source lays out 10 essential terms. Let's kick things off with efficient.
Okay, efficient. What's the official word?
The definition is doing things in the best way with the least waste.
Like, I use an efficient time management system.
Boom, right there.
I feel like that word efficient, it pops up everywhere. From how factories run to just getting your errands done quickly.
Yeah, it's all about that balance, right? Max output, min input.
You know what comes to mind? That whole Pareto principle.
80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
Exactly. So being efficient is like zeroing in on that powerful 20%.
Love that connection.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that can suck up our time, let's move on to something I'm sure we're all familiar with, procrastination.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Definition, delay doing something.
Right.
Example,
Let me guess. I always procrastinate on big projects.
bingo. Human nature right there.
Oh, so human. We all know that feeling. Putting off the big, scary task, even though it just makes things worse later on.
There's got to be a reason for it though, right?
Well, psychologists talk about this thing called present bias,
Like we value what feels good now more than future reward,
which explains why we end up scrolling through social media instead of tackling that report.
which then forces us to, what's the word? Oh yeah, prioritize. Our next term.
Prioritize, definition.
Focus on the most important things first.
So I need to prioritize my tasks today.
Exactly. Simple idea, but game-changing when you actually put it into practice.
100%. And maybe, just maybe, if we're good at prioritizing, we won't have to,
multitask so much.
Multitask, that's the word.
It means, well, the definition says do multiple things at the same time.
She can multitask while working on her reports? Sure, sounds amazing.
Except, here's the thing. Studies show that true multitasking is, well, kind of a myth.
Wait, really?
Yep. Most of the time, what we're doing is rapidly switching between tasks.
And every time we switch, it costs us focus and efficiency.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So ironically, trying to juggle too many things at once might make you less...
Productive.
That's the one, meaning getting a lot done.
I had a very productive morning. Makes you think. Maybe focusing on your top priorities and ditching the multitasking frenzy actually leads to better results.
Now you're talking. And if you do manage to become super productive, there might come a point where you need to
Delegate.
delegate it is,
Definition.
to assign work to others,
As in, a good leader knows how to delegate tasks.
which means recognizing that you can't do it all yourself.
So true. Trying to be a superhero just leads to feeling
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. Yep. Meaning feeling stressed with too much work.
I feel overwhelmed with my responsibilities. Been there. It's a sign, though. A sign that something's got to change.
Like maybe how you're prioritizing.
Oh, what you need to delegate. See how these words, they all kind of connect, you know? It's a cycle.
Poor prioritizing leads to overwhelm, which then makes it hard to be productive.
Whereas effective delegation and focus help you
Accomplish. What's the definition?
to successfully complete something.
I accomplished all my goals this year. That feeling.
The best. And when you consistently nail those accomplishments,
You're on your way to a healthy?
work-life balance,
That's the one. Beating.
the right mix between work and personal life.
As in, maintaining work-life balance is important for mental health. Finding that sweet spot, you know.
It's a constant dance for sure. So you see, these productivity and time management words, they're not just words.
They're like concepts that shape how we live our lives.
They really are. Makes you think, right?
Yeah.
How many of these terms hit a nerve for you in your own daily grind?
Now let's switch gears and head into the world of business and all things professional.
A whole new playing field. And mastering these words,
Can really make a difference, whether you're running your own show.
or climbing the corporate ladder,
Absolutely. This vocabulary is all about understanding how organizations work.
and communicating effectively.
So what's our first word in this category?
Let's start with entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Love that word.
Definition: a person who starts a business.
He became an entrepreneur at 22.
That's the dream for a lot of people nowadays.
Yeah. The entrepreneurial spirit is definitely having a moment.
To thrive in that world, though, you got to be
Innovative.
innovative. You got it. Meaning introducing new ideas.
The company is known for its innovative technology. That ability to think outside the box is pure gold in today's fast-changing landscape.
Couldn't agree more. And sometimes those new ideas need a little
Negotiation.
negotiation,
Definition.
discussion to reach an agreement.
Nailed it. The example sentence is,
The salary negotiation went well.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, doesn't it? Whether it's about money, resources, or deadlines, being able to negotiate win-win solutions,
Is crucial in any professional setting.
for sure. And you know what else helps? Being
Sweet.
strategic.
Birthday.
Strategic. Meaning, let's see, well-planned for success.
So like we need a strategic approach to marketing.
Right. It's about having that long-term vision,
Thinking several steps ahead.
like a chess game. Then there's the whole world of
Networking.
networking, such a buzzword.
But so important. What's the official definition?
Meeting people for business or career growth.
Networking is essential for career success. Couldn't agree more. Expanding your circle.
Making those connections that benefit everyone.
It's all about building relationships. But, you know, when you're out there networking,
I gotta show them.
you're
Competent,
competent indeed.
meaning
Skilled and capable.
as in she is a competent project manager,
Demonstrating your skills builds that trust.
and credibility.
Exactly. But even if you're super competent, sometimes you need to be, well, a little
Persuasive.
persuasive is the word. Definition.
To be convincing others.
Like his speech was very persuasive. Being persuasive is all about understanding your audience.
Tailoring your message so it really lands with them.
You can't just have a strong opinion.
You also gotta be,
Analytical.
that's another key one,
Meaning
using logic and reasoning.
he has strong analytical skills. Being able to break down complex problems.
And make data-driven decisions. That's highly valued in the business world.
No doubt. And you know what else employers love?
Someone with initiative.
Yeah.
Taking action without being told.
So she showed great initiative in solving the issue.
Being proactive. Going above and beyond. That's what stands out.
For sure. And then, at the end of the day, for many businesses,
It all boils down to being
client-focused.
client-focused.
Prioritizing customers' needs.
Our company is very client-focused. It's all about the customer.
Happy customers, happy business. So this whole set of business and professional terms, it really paints a picture, doesn't it?
Of what's valued in the workplace. Totally. Mastering these words gives you a real edge in navigating that world. Which situations in your own work life make you think about these words the most?
Now, hold on to your hats. We're zooming into the lightning-fast world of technology and all things digital.
A world where the language is constantly evolving.
Staying up to date with the vocab here is basically essential for understanding, well, modern life.
It's the key to not feeling like a dinosaur. Let's kick things off with a big one.
Algorithm.
Algorithm. What does it mean?
It's a step-by-step set of rules for solving problems.
Social media platforms use algorithms to show content. But it's important to remember that different algorithms,
You can have different goals. Some might prioritize showing you the latest and greatest.
while others try to guess what you'll find most engaging, even if it's old news,
Fascinating. And with so much of our lives now playing out online,
cybersecurity becomes crucial.
cybersecurity. Definition.
Protecting computers from hacking,
Cybersecurity is essential for online businesses. It's like the digital security guard.
keeping our information safe from all those nasty threats. Malware, phishing attempts,
The whole shebang. Then, of course, there's the ever-expanding world of
artificial intelligence or AI.
AI. That's the one everyone's talking about.
Definition: machines that think like humans.
AI is revolutionizing many industries, from self-driving cars to, believe it or not, medical diagnoses.
It's mind-blowing how fast it's evolving. And a lot of this tech relies on
Cloud computing.
cloud computing. Definition:
Storing data on the internet.
most companies use cloud computing for storage. It's like having this massive shared online space,
Accessible from anywhere.
which leads to a data-driven approach,
Data-driven. What does that mean?
making decisions based on facts and numbers.
We use a data-driven approach for marketing. Makes sense. We're swimming in data these days.
Being able to analyze it and use it to make smart choices
Is more important than ever. But here's the thing. All this digital activity,
leaves behind a
digital footprint,
digital footprint. It is. Definition:
the online record of someone's activities.
your digital footprint can affect job opportunities. Food for thought. Right.
Big time.
Right.
What we do online can have real-world consequences.
Absolutely. Another huge force in the digital world is
Automation.
automation. What does it mean?
Using technology to do tasks without humans.
Automation improves efficiency in factories.
Streamlining processes, reducing the need for manual labor, especially in those repetitive tasks.
It's changing the game across so many industries.
And then, of course, there's how we consume entertainment these days. Through
Streaming.
definition.
Watching videos or music online without downloading.
So I prefer streaming movies instead of downloading them.
It's all about that instant access.
On-demand entertainment.
Right.
And let's not forget the giant elephant in the digital room.
E-commerce.
E-commerce. Definition.
Buying and selling online.
E-commerce has changed the way we shop. It's transformed retail.
Brought a whole new level of convenience. But to keep all those online transactions safe. Encryption,
Encryption, yep.
meaning
Protecting information by converting it into code.
banking apps use encryption for security. Scrambling our data so only the right people can read it.
So, you see, this tech and digital vocabulary,
It's not just about keeping up with the latest gadgets.
it's about understanding the fundamental shifts happening all around us.
Being a savvy citizen of the digital age, which of these tech terms pops up most often in your world?
Now, let's talk about something that affects us all every single day. Shopping and finance.
Money matters. And knowing these words can really help you make smarter choices with your cash.
Absolutely. First up, we've got
Disposable income,
disposable income.
meaning money left after paying expenses.
As in, I use my disposable income for travel.
Knowing how much you have left after the bills are paid.
Is the cornerstone of budgeting and financial planning.
The foundation of it all.
Yeah.
Of course, what you can actually buy with that disposable income.
To be affected by
Inflation.
inflation. Yep. Meaning,
The increase in prices over time.
like, inflation has made everything more expensive. It's crazy how much prices have gone up.
There are actually different types of inflation.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, you've got demand pull inflation, where too much money's chasing too few goods.
Which drives prices up.
And then there's cost push inflation, where rising production costs get passed on to us consumers.
So it's like a double whammy. Once you've got a handle on your disposable income, you might think about
Investment,
investment, meaning
putting money into something to gain profit.
as in real estate is a good investment.
But there are all sorts of investments out there.
Stocks, bonds, you name it.
Understanding how they work is key for long-term financial growth.
And don't forget about interest rates.
Interest rates. That's
The cost of borrowing money.
interest rates are rising this year, which affects everything.
Mortgages, business loans, you name it.
If you're trying to free up more disposable income for investing, you might consider being more
Frugal,
frugal. I like that word.
it means careful about spending money. I live a frugal lifestyle to save money, making conscious choices.
Being mindful of where your money goes and when you do spend.
It's always good to know if something is
Refundable.
refundable. Definition.
Can be returned for money back.
This item is refundable within 30 days.
Gives you a bit of a safety net. Then, every time you buy something, you're making a
Transaction.
transaction. Yep.
Definition.
An exchange of money.
Online transactions are becoming more common.
Cash, digital payments, so many ways to move money around these days. Now, sometimes the whole economy hits a rough patch. What do we call that?
A recession.
Recession, meaning
A period of economic decline.
the country is facing a recession. It can affect jobs, business profits.
The whole picture. For those who are into investing, understanding
Stock market is essential.
stock market, that's where
You buy and sell shares of publicly traded companies.
little pieces of big businesses.
Exactly. And as the saying goes, the stock market is unpredictable.
No kidding. Finally, for businesses, a crucial metric is
Revenue,
revenue, meaning
money earned by a business.
our company's revenue increased by 20% this year. That's the money coming in before any expenses.
The lifeblood of any business. So as you can see, these shopping and finance words,
They give us a glimpse into the inner workings of both personal finance.
and the broader economy.
It all connects. Thinking about your own finances, which of these terms has the biggest impact on your day-to-day decisions? Okay, last but certainly not least, we're diving into the fascinating world of emotions and personal development.
Understanding ourselves and how we relate to others.
This is where it gets really interesting. What's our first word in this category?
Let's start with resilient.
Resilient. Love that word.
It means able to recover from difficulties.
Like she is very resilient after facing challenges.
Being able to bounce back from setbacks. That's a key ingredient for growth.
No doubt. And a powerful tool for navigating those ups and downs is
Mindfulness.
mindfulness.
Yeah.
Definition.
Being aware of the present moment.
Practicing mindfulness helps reduce stress. It's about being present.
Without judgment.
And right alongside mindfulness, we have
Self-awareness.
self-awareness, meaning
Understanding yourself.
self-awareness is key to personal growth.
Yeah.
Knowing your strengths, weaknesses, values, those emotional triggers.
It's foundational for making positive changes. Now, when it comes to connecting with others,
Being charismatic can be a real advantage.
charismatic. Definition.
Attracting people with personality.
He is a charismatic speaker. It's that magnetic quality that draws people in.
For sure. But charisma isn't everything. For truly meaningful connections.
You need empathy.
Empathy.
Definition.
Understanding others' feelings.
Good leaders show empathy for their team. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Seeing the world through their eyes. That's powerful.
It really is. And you know what else can have a big impact on our well-being?
Gratitude.
Gratitude it is.
Meaning thankfulness.
Practicing gratitude improves happiness.
Appreciating the good things in life, both big and small.
It can really shift your perspective. Now, on the flip side,
Sometimes we get stuck in the trap of
overthinking.
overthinking. Definition.
Thinking too much about something.
I tend to overthink decisions. Been there? The key is recognizing when you're spiraling.
And then finding ways to break free, of course, to achieve our big goals.
We need a healthy dose of
Ambition.
ambition, meaning
Having big goals.
like she is ambitious and wants to be CEO, setting your sights high.
And going for it. But ambition without
Authenticity.
can lead you astray.
Authenticity
Being
meaning
real and genuine.
as in people appreciate authentic leaders. Being true to yourself.
Aligning your actions with your
Because
values.
that's what builds trust. And finally, we have
Intuitive.
Intuitive, definite.
Understanding things without explanation.
She has an intuitive sense of people's emotions, that gut feeling.
The instinct that goes beyond logic. So, you see, this whole realm of emotions and personal development
It gives us tools to understand our inner world.
and our relationships with others.
It's a journey of self-discovery. Which of these words resonates most deeply with you right now on your own personal journey? Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into these 50 advanced vocabulary words.
We've covered so much ground, from getting things done to the complexities of the business world
The ever-evolving landscape of technology, the ins and outs of finance.
and the rich tapestry of human emotions.
You're now equipped to use these words with precision and confidence,
To communicate your ideas more effectively.
to navigate the world with greater awareness and understanding. As you reflect on this deep dive, ask yourself,
Which words were completely new to you?
and which ones gave you a fresh perspective?
A new way of seeing things. Now, for our final thought.
Something to ponder as you go about your day.
Imagine this. How might consciously weaving even a few of these words into your everyday vocabulary,
Change the way you perceive the world.
the way you interact with others?
The power of language is truly transformative.
More than you might think.